Dumelang, ke a le amogela on the very first episode, Raising Babies 101 mo SABC 2. This is where we will guide you through one of life's most challenging journeys of bringing up your little ones in what can be a crazy, hectic world. Na kalibito ke Carol wa Ofori, and I will be your host on this wonderful journey for the next few months, where we'll be introducing you to all things Raising Babies 101. On this new and exciting show, we will cover everything from when you're an expectant parent up until your baby is 5 years old. We will connect you with experts in the various fields, as well as batswadi babangwe and different caregivers in our communities that have come to give us the best advice on how to hlokomela ngwana. This show will introduce you to everyday moms and dads, Batwana Lilena, Linna, and they will share their experiences, Lidi challenges sabone. But that's not it. There's also loads of great prizes to be won. Coming up on today's show, re tlo go bua ka go fa ngwana wa hao tšhelete a sa le monyane, deadly diarrhea, and re tlo go bua le celebrity Yummy Mummy. Se se latelang, eating the placenta. Who does it and why? Now, I don't know if you've heard of eating your placenta. Babang bari it's healthy and babang banagana gore it's snacks. Welcome, my guest with us in studio is Chrissy Smith-Schuler from Placenta Encapsulation and Elizabeth Friedman, who is a doula. Welcome, ladies, and a warm welcome to our studio audience. So, Elizabeth, let's start off with understanding what exactly is the placenta and what does it do for the baby?
Right, so the placenta is an organ that belongs to the baby and it lives inside the mother's uterus. The placenta is almost a filtration system that filters all the good things and bad things that the baby should have. So it's almost like, it looks like a liver almost, and it's a filtration system that filters the nutrients from the mom's blood through into the baby.
So when the baby is born, the placenta is part of the things that the doctors will throw away. I remember when I had my cesarean, I insisted to the doctors, I want to see my placenta. But by the time I woke up, they had thrown it away. So I had no option to even think of eating a placenta. Tell me about eating a placenta, Chrissy.
Well, Carol, I think the first thing is we don't per se eat the placenta. If you're going to do placenta encapsulation, we take your placenta, take it, process it and put it into pills. And the mom actually takes the pills. So it's not eating a raw piece of meat, which is what people seem to think. And those pills have great benefits for the mom.
Now, some people will say that eating a placenta is just completely weird.
It helps mom with milk supply, to increase her milk supply.
Wow.
Lower iron, if she's got low iron. Helps to stop postpartum bleeding, helps to stop baby blues, which can lead to postnatal depression. Lots and lots of things. Postpartum womb bleeding, it will help all of that.
Really?
So there's a lot of stuff. If mom has a lot of hair loss, there's new research to say it stops the hair loss postpartum as well.
Really? Now, some will say it's also cannibalism because you're eating yourself.
So it's not cannibalism, because cannibalism is eating another person.
Now, as a doula, I'm sure you've seen a lot of women who've opted for this option.
There's some moms who just believe that the benefits of having their dried placenta in their systems is just very good for them. And you see it afterwards when you go and see a mom at home and you do a home visit at home. You see that she's coping so much better once she's been taking these tablets for a while. Her milk supplies come in really well, quickly. She's got lots of milk for her baby, gives her lots of energy, where some moms, after their first babies, they're feeling completely flat and exhausted. I just find the moms that take the tablets are actually coping a lot better. They feel so much better.
Wow, I'm still in shock. Like, I'm just trying to think of myself taking these pills. Okay, let's go to our studio audience. I know you have a question. Me, what's your question?
Rona as re le batho ba basadi ha re ja placenta o thola nna ke thola bana ba banyana mme o thola bana ba bashimane, so hore ke conceive placenta ha e ho ke le nna ke gono o thola bana ba banyana.
Wow, that's an excellent question. She's asking that if I have a baby boy and she, for example, has a baby girl, we can eat each other's placentas and hopefully I will have a boy the next time and she'll have a girl. Is this myth or fact?
That's a myth, sadly. No, it wouldn't. I wouldn't recommend eating anyone else's placenta.
Why?
Because the placenta has benefits from your body. You're putting, it's been in your body for 9 months, and the iron and stuff that you've needed are in your placenta, and the iron or the things that are in it are different from placenta to placenta. So I definitely wouldn't eat someone else's placenta.
Wow. So once you've given birth, you obviously are a doula, so it's natural birth. What comes, I've always been curious. I had a cesarean, so I'm always curious, well, how is the process? Does the placenta come out first sometimes, or is it really the one that comes out at the end? That's why baby morago.
It comes out at the end. It comes out after the baby.
Okay, so do you literally give birth to the
Yes,
placenta?
you have to give birth to the placenta. It's not as difficult as giving birth to a baby. It comes out much easier.
Okay, I see. Okay, well, I think that is it. Do we have any more questions from our audience about the placenta?
I would like to know, what is the danger of keeping a placenta for too long after giving birth?
That's an interesting one.
Well, you know, if you're going to do the encapsulation, you need to do it within 24 hours. I would say if you're going to do it, please make sure you find someone who's properly trained. It's very, very important. And that's, you know, obviously it's got a lifespan. It is a piece of, you know, live meat. So make sure that it's done timelessly. So when you decide if you're going to do it, then you make sure that you have whoever's going to do it for you ready and on standby, which is what I would do. So a client would phone and I go and collect it straight away.
I recall discussing this topic with my mom and her going, what? Who does that? You cannot do that. Culturally, how have you seen it coming?
So definitely it's becoming more and more popular over all cultures. I think, you know, when I started doing it 4 or 5 years ago, I thought it would be, you know, white English women, and it's not. It's definitely, most cultures do it, Black women, white Afrikaans women, you know, it's definitely getting more and more popular. So
Okay.
I would say it's less of a cultural thing, it's more people see the benefits and do it.
Ladies, thank you so much for that perspective. I surely have learned so much about this particular topic. Kenagoya, you decide, because there is no right or wrong, just choices. We raise open-ended concerns and let you decide for yourself. Now you decide. Should you give your little one under 5 pocket money? Ke yone potso e re botsang mo You Decide, where you, the viewer, get to think for yourself and make up your own mind about the hot question of the day. We went out and hit the streets of Mzansi to find out hore le nagana eng ka taba e. Ha re shebe.
Mntano under 5 pocket money engizwe ngumuphi?
No, I wouldn't give him a pocket money.
Mntana under 5 or under 5 uzoyenzani ngemali?
Kunika umntana ona 5 years imali, it's a big no kimi ngithola.
Nkamufa pocket money ne, but una le limit.
Wana 5 years afu ichelete sampane le ngwana.
Ewe ngumntana wami under 5 years but ndiyamshiya nemali.
Sometimes bana ke bana abatsoko strateng ba bona tshum tsa bona tshwere 1 rand wa move once in a while. Ba tshwantse o move gore a understand mohlang o senang yona a bona gore a una yona because ha una le yona wa bona re wa move.
At that age akakazi izinto zokuthi ngicokuyothenga ngifunani. If khona something ayifunayo, mommy can I get this? I don't have a problem ngizomthengela, but I wouldn't give the money directly to yena. No.
So I think it's best to teach a child ukuthi uyamthengela uyamupha, because when umfundisa i-pocket money, it will be difficult makasayifuna and you don't have.
Mawungacala uku-engage umntana omncane ona 5 years ngemali. Kula uthola ukuthi okay, umntana sekathanda imali, sekaba exposed kwezinye izinto, ama-drugs, nani izinto ezithile, yangithola. Yeah, because money it's evil, right?
Because once wayijwayela uzogcina sekangishontshela.
Ha ka moruta tšhelete na le 5 years o tlo utswa. Ha o sa move o tlo idemand ka re ke tšhelete ya hae.
Ngicabanga ukuthi nje fanele mayela ko9 songakwazi ukumnikeza. Kodwa masemncane umkhulisa ngemali uzoba inkingi. Mawungasenayo.
The right time, I think it's 8 years.
Right time ya ngwana ya le 18 to 19 years.
Umntana kumele abambe imali makase ana maybe boma 15 16 kula ungamunika khona i-pocket money. Nakhona umfundisa i-financial responsibility ngendlela ethize, uyabona, ukhona ukumnika i200 rand ukubamba naye. You're gonna spend this 200 rand for the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, uyabona. Kula umfundisa khona ama-skills ukuthi imali isebenziswa kanjani, imali iyagcinwa, yangithola. Imali akusinto ongathi ungayisebenzisa nje, uyabona.
Very, very interesting. Well, I'd like to welcome my guest, Tumelo Matuku, a financial advisor. Tumelo, you saw what the people had to say. What are your thoughts on giving money or pocket money to children under the age of 5?
Look, I think it's important. I think as long as kids can count, they understand the value of money. Often you'll hear children say, Daddy, please give me money for ice cream, give me money for this. So they have a fair understanding of money, maybe not the value of money, but they understand that money buys them things.
So is there a correct age for that particular age group to say, okay, ngwana ke ye tšhelete tshwara? Because my son is 2 years old, and I'm sure nka mo fa tšhelete o tla latlha ka mo tšhelete because a tlhaloganye gore ke tšhelete e
No,
reka dijo.
of course. But also remember, children progress, or should I say mature differently. Some kids talk faster than others, some kids count faster than others. So I think it depends on a child-to-child basis.
And also, I know a lot of Batswadi, when children are born, for example, my husband and I really dula ra etsa account for ene. And ka pete ha every year, remela chelete. So not necessarily pocket money, but can parents start thinking of things like that, of opening the account to bear chelete for bana for later in life?
I think that's a must. I think it's a must. I think every parent should do that. As soon as your children are born, you should be putting away a certain amount of money. Obviously differs from person to person, but essentially the saving culture is the right culture.
Let's talk about allowances from a financial perspective, Lebana. What would be your advice with that?
I think it would differ from children to children based on your background. For example, a child in Sandton compared to a child called Alex, for example, or Soweto. Those needs and in terms of buying power would be different from there. So I think it differs from individual to individual basis as well.
A guideline ninyana gore what is acceptable and what is spoiling the child?
Well, essentially, I think if kids under 5, there's nothing worth money that they could buy besides sweets, chips, and so forth. So essentially, I'd say 50 Rand.
50 Rand. A month, a day, a week?
Well, nowadays, in terms of the value, I'd say a week. I say a week because it's important that kids understand the value of money and you teach them from an early age to manage money.
Okay. And is there a minimum amount one should be putting away for wana? Because I know sometimes Batu will have children. Basa nahani hore, the financial implications of having a child is quite costly and tend to obey chelete. So let's say, for example, ke khola 3,000 a month. All right.
Yes.
From that amount, how much should I be putting away percentage-wise for wanaka and for their future?
Well, I'd have to take you on a budget exercise for us to understand that. But essentially, as a financial advisor, I always say to people, take out education policies, take out some type of endowment structures. Obviously, it differs from person to person in terms of what you can afford. But essentially, I think 10% would be a good start.
10% of your salary to put away for a child for future. Now, what tips would you have for parents when it comes to pocket money, allowances, and a holistic financial idea for children?
I think essentially, the reason why I'd say give children a budget so that they learn how to manage it. Now, essentially, you'd say to your child, okay, here's 50 Rand. This should last you till Sunday, for example, if on Monday. What you're trying to teach that child is that they shouldn't spend that money within one day. And essentially, maybe give them an incentive that if you have some money left over by Sunday, I'll give you an extra 10 Rand. And essentially, what you try to teach those children is how to use money, the value of money, and more importantly, that money gets finished.
I also want to ask you one quick question. You know, parents wana lino letwa. We put it in a shoe. Is that a good way of training younger children about money? That if you take out your tooth, which is not valuable, I found out my mom does something else with those teeth. Mare, what does that teach children to say?
I think essentially that's just about a saving culture. It's folklore and so forth. I don't know if that specific tactic or that specific way of training a child about money works, but I believe that in terms of having children manage money at an early age is very important.
I think it is very important. Thank you so much for giving us that insight on this topic. Seselatelang, we're talking about ditlharele, how to give your infant or your child medicine. That's all next. Welcome back. Ke a le amogela gape. O ntse shebile Raising Babies 101. Jwale ke nako ya Easy Peasy, where we make childcare simple, straightforward, and fun, just like the name suggests. Today's Easy Peasy is giving your baby medicine. In this very first Easy Peasy segment of the season, we are joined in studio by Sister Samantha Crompton, o tla re bontsha gore bana o ba fa jwang ditlhare. Welcome, Samantha.
Thank you.
So here is our little baby. Show us, how would you administer medication? Let's start off with a tablet, for example.
Okay, so the first important thing is always to make sure you've got clean hands when you're dealing with medications and ensure that you know exactly the dosage that your baby needs to have.
Okay.
So if we're going to start with a tablet, because sometimes there isn't a liquid form of the...
Yes, like malaria medication.
Yeah, perfect. So what you want to do is take 2 spoons.
Yes.
All right. And I mean, this isn't the perfect tablet, but you want to crush it.
See, I was doing it wrong all this time.
Into a powder form.
Aha.
And then what you can do is just add a dash of water or whatever the pharmacist has told you can, and then mix it into a liquid, and then you can actually administer it via a teaspoon to your baby.
You know what I've had a problem with is that my son will then take maybe half the tablet and then spit the rest out.
Spit the rest out, yeah.
What do I do? Do I take another tablet? Or do I just let it be?
Unfortunately not. So certain of the medications, the pharmacist will instruct you to actually just say, you know what, whatever you've given, because we can't be sure of the dosage, you don't want to overdose them, they can take and you do it at the next dosage. So there's always a missed dosage schedule that is available. Yes. But the other easy thing to do is then to actually put it in some liquid and pour it into a syringe, and that way they will easily be able to take the full amount.
I see.
For you.
Now, when they're saying you must give a child 3 times a day, what exactly is the duration of 3 times a day?
Well, to make it simple for a lot of people, we say breakfast, lunch and supper, just from a timing perspective to make it really easy. So it's usually 6 to 8 hours in between.
Okay. Now let's have a look at this. I love using these. Hakifangwana liquid medication.
Yes.
I will normally drop it in, draw to the point that I want. Then I put it into his mouth, and I normally have a little game session, and then I squirt that out into his mouth. And usually this, because of the force, it goes to the back of the throat and they usually swallow it. So I normally opt for this. But what are some of the other things that you have here?
So the one I really like is actually a syringe, and a lot of the medications come with a syringe nowadays just to make it easier. The reason is it's very accurate to draw in, all right? And then I can show you, we aim it to the back of the baby's mouth and just positioning them. All right, so it's nice is to hold your baby's arm under your arm, because so they can't hit it away. Okay, and this one you can even hold here. Yes. Right? And this way your baby's usually quite happy. You're looking at it, talking to it. It's in a breastfeeding position. And you actually want to aim the syringe so that it hits the back of the cheek, because sometimes if you just squirt it in, they choke. Okay, and then they cough it up, and we don't want medicine to be an unpleasant experience.
True.
We want it to be positive.
Okay.
Because they have to do it. And they have to do it 3 times a day, sometimes 4 times a day.
Yes.
Right, so you want to aim it so it hits the back of their cheek, so that it slides along the back like that. And then if they're allowed to have fluids or foods afterwards, you can either maybe breastfeed them or offer them something to drink just to remove the taste from their mouth.
Now, in most situations, a person will have a spoon or a teaspoon to administer medication. Yes. What are the dosages in comparison, spoon to teaspoon?
So what we always say is we recommend you don't use your kitchen teaspoon. The reason is because you're probably going to get the incorrect dosage in this. So any medication will always come free of charge with a medicine spoon. So you can go to any pharmacy and they will, or clinic, anywhere, and they will offer it for you. Or you even get the measuring spoons that have got a measure like this.
And they can come free from the clinic.
They come free from the clinic or a pharmacy. Wherever you're getting the medication, they should, actually, I think they're obliged to actually give you a measure spoon, so that you can get the correct amount, and this will give you 2.5 or 5 mils.
Okay, so half the spoon is 2.5?
Is 2.5, and a full spoon is 5 mils.
All right. And with storing medication, I know some medications have to be kept in cool, dry, dark places and not by sunlight.
Yes.
How important is this for medication?
It is very important, and a tip I always give my mothers is to say, when you are getting the medication from your pharmacy or clinic, is to ask them to put the instructions on the actual bottle. So that if you do throw the box away or anything like that, you have the instructions with you, and then you can constantly be rereading dosages, rereading storage, expiries, all of that, because if they need to be in the fridge, they need to be in the fridge.
Yeah.
Okay, if they need to be in a dark place, they really do. Otherwise, the medication is ruined and it's actually not effective.
If you could give us some final tips and, pointers with regards to medication and administering it.
Okay, one of the biggest problems with babies is they're wriggly, squiggly, wormy, all right? So a tip you can use is to actually use a towel. Okay. It's a very simple thing. Most families will have one readily available, and you can actually almost swaddle your baby. Okay, so you just swaddle them in their arms like that. They're nice and tight, they're feeling safe and secure, and that way, if you do have to spoon it, you can, here's my measuring spoon. If you do have to spoon it in slowly, they are not able to hit the spoon out your hand, because that's usually what happens. And you're like, you don't know how much you've given.
because we just want to spoon it slowly into their mouth, and also if they mess, you're not spilling medication that stains their clothing everywhere. And they're quite secure in here.
That's a beautiful tip, because even if they spill, you can use the towel.
You can use the
to
towel
wipe them off.
to wipe. So it's a lovely tip we always give our moms. It's just to wrap them in a nice warm towel after their bath or wherever, and you can actually easily give them medication like that.
Wow, thank you.
Because it's hitting you away, that's the problem.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Samantha.
so
You've
much.
really shown me new tips of how to administer medication. Okay, viewers, as we all know, parenting can be very, very costly. To make life a little easier for you, our baby shower segment is to shower you with gifts. This week, we have a baby hamper to give away. All you need to do is answer yes or no to one simple question correctly. The question is, can you eat the placenta? To enter this competition, answer yes or no on our social media platforms. Answer correctly, and one lucky viewer will be randomly selected to win this baby hamper, valued at over 2,500 Rand. The winner will be announced on social media. Good luck! Morago ga dipapatso, we answer today's big question, and it's to do with overbearing in-laws, grandparents, and what to do about them. That's all coming up next. Ke a go amogela on our very first show. Ke a leboga gore o na le rona. Nazreen Musaji contacted Raising Babies 101 about this issue with overbearing in-laws and shared her story with us.
Did you ever wonder what it would be like to have an older brother or sister? What about a younger brother or sister? But I have both. I am what you call the middle child. I have a brother who is 6 and a younger sister who is 1. Then there's me, sandwich, right between them.
Hi, Raising Babies. My name is Nazreen, and I'm a mom of 3, and I live in Lenasia. This is Sabrine. She's 5 years old, and she's in grade double naught, and she's at Little Folks. So one of the biggest challenges I had with my in-laws, I think, was the spoiling. They tend to give the sweeties when it's time for food. They give in to her every desire. I think that's one of the biggest challenges, is trying to get them to understand that you gotta follow food followed by a treat. So I think that was it is still one of the biggest challenges to date, because they are elder and they are wiser than what I am. And of course, they've been through the parenting thing with their kids. So I take what they have to say. I listen to what I feel is applicable to me. At the end of the day, I don't say, no, don't tell me what to do. I'm respectful. I take it. I take the good. I take the bad. I choose what I want to use from there. And and I apply it to my life. And whatever I feel is not applicable to me, I let it go. What I have tried recently with my in-laws is that before they head off there to spend a day, I make sure they're fed, everything's 100%, and then it's like grandparents go to town, you can spoil them and, do whatever you want, it's fine. And then when they come home, we just handle it from there. Get them to calm down, stop all the sugars and whatever, and carry on from there. So my question to Raising Babies is, where do you draw the line? Where do you say enough is enough and this is how I'm going to do things? But do it also in the most respectful and most loving way, that the message comes across, but no one is offended.
That's an interesting one. Lona le nahana eng ka di-in-laws le ho hodisa bana. Are they always helpful, or are they sometimes a little bit of a nuisance? Ha ngwana a ile a go tjhakela di-in-laws, o ikutlwa jwang? That is our big question ya kajeno. Joining me now is Jennifer Papers, a social worker. Jennifer, you heard her question. What do you have to say about that?
Wow. I think that overbearing in-laws is something that all of us sort of struggle with. I mean, having a child and, you know, having a way of wanting to raise those children and then having, you know, a third party come in and ruin all of that. I mean, some of us don't want to have our kids eat sweets before the age of 5 years old, you know.
So is there a nice way of telling in-laws that, listen, don't give my children sweets?
Most definitely, but you also have to remember, as much as you're going to tell the in-laws not to, we're not there to watch and see whether they are or not going to listen to you. And so sometimes you just have to let go.
You just have to let go.
Sometimes you just have to let go. But there is a nice way of telling them and just being more assertive in how you tell them as well, and explaining the reasons why. Sometimes it's important not to just say, I don't want my kids to eat sweets. Sometimes it's important to explain the reasons why.
And maybe you'll give them more perspective as to why it's not. All right, let's get a question from our studio audience.
Umbuzo wami uya lapho ukuthi ne sizoyenza njani singabomakoti uma ama-in-laws wethu bafuna ukuteka over kubantwana bethu. Thina sidlala indima yiphi ebantwaneni bethu uma bona sebasithathele indima esifanele siyidlale njengabazali.
A very interesting question from her. She's saying you've gotten married, you're the wife, and you want to raise your children your own way, but somehow your in-laws always feel they have ownership over your child and want to dictate to you as the mother how to raise your child. How does she manage that?
You know, in the African culture, we always have the problem of, maybe it's not a problem, but families feel, or extended families feel like you had a child, it's all of our child, you know? And so they want an input into how you're going to raise the child. But once again, you are the parent. I always say you are the parent and you know how you want to raise your child.
It's difficult, especially in African culture, because you'll say, I'm the parent, this is how I want to do things. Then they'll tell you, this is Ofori's child. So they will do things the Ofori way. That is how, you know, African culture is, that once you take on a name and that child takes on that name, that culture and that way of life is how you follow it.
But we also have to remember with that we have roles within that family.
And I think it also helps to speak to the man in the house and say, Hore, I'm having a problem, Limme, who's always coming in my, you know, situation. Can you speak to your mom? Because it's somehow, when men speak to their mom, they are able to sort of subdue them a little bit.
Yes.
Whereas when you do it, Karuna Lime Kwanyana, who this Makoti?
But you also have to remember, with men getting into the middle of or trying to mediate, he will feel like he's in the middle of all of it, and so having to choose sides, because that might be what, you know, the mom might say. And so getting a mediator, professional mediator, is also a good idea, you know, just to, you know, explain to the family or the parents, grandparents that, you know, how things, there's boundaries, you know. You can't just, you know, come into people's houses as much as we are family and then dictate how things need to be done.
Yeah, it's all about being assertive. Baragastwana bello to. And put people in their place. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for coming in and chatting to us about that. Seselatelang, as earlier mentioned, Renali segment Ebituang Baby's Health A to Z, where each week we'll be decoding a letter giving us our topic for the day. And to start things off, we are decoding D, deadly diarrhea. On Baby's Health A to Z, we decode some of those terms that we may not understand that are related to ditaba tsa tswalo le ho godisa bana ba rona. As mentioned, today's letter is D for deadly diarrhea. Acute diarrheal diseases are among the top causes of mortality in early childhood in the world. DD is also a major cofactor in undernutrition and stunting in under 5s in many parts of the world. Diarrhea is defined as the passage of 3 or more loose stools or liquid stools per day. Joining us to give us some more insight about the topic is nurse Samantha Crompton. Samantha, let's talk about this DD. Please break it down. What is deadly diarrhea?
Okay, so diarrhea is probably the second leading cause of childhood mortality in sub-Saharan Africa. So it can be very serious. It can be quite mild, but it can also lead to more serious. So what it is, it's an intestinal disorder, and it's you see it with frequency of stools, as you've mentioned, and high liquid stools.
Okay,
lots
so
of
when you
fluid.
say mortality, you're obviously referring to deaths in children.
Yeah.
Now, I have to ask you, what causes deadly diarrhea?
It can be caused by a virus or a bacteria or even a parasite. There can be side effects to certain medications that you can get diarrhea. So there's a lot of ways you can get a type of diarrhea.
When do you say there's a problem?
The biggest problem with diarrhea is actually the dehydration side of it.
Yeah.
So it's more watching them to make sure that they don't get dehydrated. And keeping a child hydrated takes patience and time, and that's the key to the problem. And if you're seeing that your efforts of keeping them, rehydrating them are not working, that's when you need to step in and say, I need to go to the doctor and get help here.
So is there a time frame where you say it's been 3 days and it's bad?
Yes, because if it's a viral type of diarrhea, usually they're quite self-limiting. It's a self-limiting disease, but if it's lasting longer than that, then you're heading towards more persistent diarrhea, and there may be another cause of it. And if you see your efforts to hydrate the child are not working, whether it's been 12 hours, 1 hour, 3 days, you need to then go see someone.
Please explain to us the differences between acute and chronic diarrhea.
Okay, so there's two types. So acute diarrhea is lasting anything from 0 to 2 weeks.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's quite long. And then you get persistent diarrhea, which is around 2 to 4 weeks by definition, and anything longer than that will be considered a chronic diarrhea.
Oh, that sounds different. So are there any home remedies that we could give our kids to help them stop a runny tummy?
Yes, we like to, if you can afford it, we often try and give the kids a probiotic to try and help that. Or you've got your natural probiotics like yogurts and things like that really help. But the main thing is to give the children, when they do have diarrhea, from the moment you see it, is to give them an oral rehydration solution, which is a very simple recipe to make at home. Okay, so the recipe is you get a litre of water and you boil it to make sure it's clean.
Yes.
And then you cool it down. You put 6 level teaspoons of sugar and half a teaspoon of salt. And you try and give them that whole litre within the 24 hours.
And that should help with the rehydration.
With rehydration. And that's the important part.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the prevention. I know that sometimes bad sanitation, maybe you're living in an area where there's a lot of, sewage coming past your home, or you are just interacting with a lot of, very bad bacteria and viruses. How do you prevent this?
So the number one way to prevent, and it's been seen in a lot of research, is hand washing.
Yes.
So a simple solution is make sure that you are teaching your children before they eat to wash their hands, before and after they've been to the toilet to wash their hands, okay, especially afterwards. So just a simple thing of hand washing can help prevent a lot of diarrheas.
It's crazy. And when you're saying hand washes, I have to ask you, I'm obsessed with buying the hand wash that say 99% kills germs, 99%. If I don't get anything that says killing 99% of those germs, I don't buy it.
Yeah.
But normal soap, how long? Because I know there's a duration. You don't just put 1 second underwater. There's a duration you have to lather and wash and wash and wash to be safe.
Yeah, you want to try and wash your hands for a minute, okay? And that's if you can, which is long. But, as long as you're getting soap in all the areas, rinsing it nicely, it shouldn't be a problem in terms of preventing your diarrheas, your problems.
And lastly, as we wrap up this topic, some great tips for at home. I know sometimes there are people who believe that when you have diarrhea, give them a flat type of cola and that will somehow stop it. Do you have some parting advice?
My mother also told me that, but through my studies I learned that that's actually really high in sugar, giving flat cold drink, and high sugar levels can actually sometimes worsen the diarrhea. So you want to give, that we say, rather stick to your oral rehydration solution, to that recipe, and then you're safe. You don't have to worry about anything.
Thank you so much, Samantha, for giving us that wonderful tip about the water and how much salt and sugar and all that goes into it. Rehydration is definitely key when it comes to diarrhea.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Samantha.
Thank you.
At the beginning of the show, we mentioned that we'll be speaking to a celebrity parent. Don't go away. Our Yummy Mummy of the Day is coming up. But you saved the best for last. So in this, our final installment, Yalenane La Rona, our Yummy Mummy of the Day, ke Nolo Matlaila. Welcome, Nolo.
Thank you for having me.
Also, it's lovely being a mom and doing it so well. I mean, your daughter is 5 years old. Tell us about your journey as a mom, what it's been like for you personally.
Well, I always tell people that I was a mom prior to being a real mom.
Oh.
After high school, I spent 5 years of my life as an au pair in the United States of America.
Oh.
So I've been working as a mom prior to being a real mom. So having my daughter was sort of like a cherry on top,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
And I do love children. So I'm actually planning to have more.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Now, on this show, re ntse re bua ka medication le ditlhare ha o fa ngwana. When it comes to medication with your daughter, has it been an easy thing go mo fa yone kapo ke nako ya go lwana?
Actually, no, we've never thought about it. Ngwanaka ke motho a ratang dilo, shame, hey. Quite an inquisitive young person, an adventurous at heart. So, you know, go santse mo fe ditlhare, as long as you explain to her, se ke setlhare sa o dira eng, se se tlo o thusa ka eng, se se tlo o thusa ka eng, wa di tseba, to the point where if she's got a cough, she would come to you and say, ke batla setlhare se se so, you know? So it's not a problem. However, I don't necessarily believe in westernized medication. I believe in home remedies first before we go to the chemist.
So how are the home remedies? Give us one of your home remedies.
Okay, I got her into drinking tea that has ginger and lemon. Also specifically ka di winter season. Hori thushe ka di flu and mucus, you know. And also I like to offer her warm milk at night if she's struggling to fall asleep. You know, or she's got a little tummy ache from having way too many things during the day.
Oh, yeah, so that also helps the warm milk.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And also, you know, helps a lot. It contributes a lot. I since learned that starchy and dairy creates too much mucus. So, too much of it. So I since learned that cut out starch, cut out dairy, too much of it, and replace it with vegetables, and also be creative about it, because the vegetables, right? Yeah.
All right. Now, I know that she is here with us, your beautiful daughter.
Yes.
Introduce her. Bring her.
Mita Warabile, Naledi Matlaila, but she goes by the name Robbie. Robbie, would you like to come and join me?
Oh, Robbie. She is so cute. Is she coming straight from ballet class?
No, she's always dressed in ballet clothes because she believes she'll be a ballerina one day. Robbie, say hi, Auntie Carol.
Hi, Auntie Carol.
Hi, Robbie. Do you like your ballerina outfit? Simple nod is perfect.
Yes.
So how do you balance being an awesome mom and baby Robbie? Because you have a really tight, I mean, I know I'm a radio girl and I know radio is demanding.
Yeah.
And then you have TV as well.
You know, like I said, I enjoy being a mom. From the moment she was born, I told people I'm going to make her my friend. From a young age, I'm going to make her my accessory. You know, when instead of holding a handbag, I'm going to hold her, you know, everywhere I go. And she's been so much of a friend that my friends are now friends with her.
Oh,
you know?
that's
And
awesome.
so I don't find it challenging. The only challenge I have is trying to explain my TV character and the real mommy to her, you know?
Oh, wow. And
She
how do
gets
you
a
break
little
that down?
confused, you know? I mean, you know, right now, you have a storyline that sort of talks about another child.
Oh, and
in
she's
the
like,
story.
who's
She's
this
like,
other
wait a
child?
minute, I don't remember having a brother, you know? But with age, she's understanding a little bit more.
Okay,
Yeah.
lovely. Well, you know, we spoke earlier about in-laws and how they play a role in our lives. Some in-laws, babata ho kena mo lelapeng and tell you what to do mo lelapeng.
Yeah.
How has your journey been in that front?
All right, before I answer that, Robbie, would you like to go color there and use the chalks and color
Yes,
in the
draw
little
something
doors over
nice, Miss Robbie. There's the chalk
there?
over
You can
there.
use all the colors there, all right?
Lovely.
So the in-laws, I mean, that one is quite a tricky one. And it's quite evident in a lot of parenting. We just don't speak about it. But what I found to be the most challenging is what we call religious differences. You
Talk
know?
to me about that.
I mean, you find somebody who comes from a very traditional background and you come from a very liberated background, you know? So when having to raise a child together, the best way, according to my knowledge, is to merge your own understanding on how to raise a child.
Correct.
But then you know, in our African culture, you have to adopt the father's religion and you have to raise the child that way. And then you end up having to go through certain rituals and customs because that's what they went through.
And how did you resolve this?
You know, because I'm a single mother, I took the stand to say I'm raising her on my own. And children mostly adapt their mother's beliefs and faith. So I took it upon myself to sit them down and say, I choose to raise my child my way, the same way you guys chose to raise your children your own way. So can you allow me to do that, you know? And at some point, I will let you know when I need help.
And lastly, I mean, you have lots of people that follow your life and follow you. 2018 is a brand new year. What are some of the projects you're looking forward to this year?
You know, I don't know, Carol. I'm very passionate about working with kids, right? Why not take my psychology background and also take my experience with being a child caregiver?
Wow.
And I thought, why not start sort of like art classes in schools? Because I've since noticed that drawing and painting is sort of a healing method for kids. And you can also find out a lot about a child while they're busy painting and drawing. That's when you can also find out how their home lifestyle is like. And also, if you dig a little further, you could also find out if there's any sign of abuse in the household as well.
Wow, I love that. Let's go to our studio audience. I know we have a question there. Me, what's your question?
How on set and about all face emergency about how like utila yang leona like
we have a huge support structure in our workspace, but I've also ensured that kinele muthu wa dulang le rena ka montlong motlhokomedi wa ngwana wa dulang le rena ka montlong 24/7, and I've also have family within a close range ba ilong hore, for example, if ngwana santse a latiwe sekolong earlier than normal, it's just a matter of a phone call, you know, because at the end of the day, in show business, the show must go on, you know. However, if it's a serious emergency, I will drop it all and run, you know, because at the end of the day, the child does matter more than your job.
So Nolo, you've done this single parenting thing quite well. What advice do you have for other single moms or even single dads?
As much as you may be single parenting, may we not omit the other parent from being part of the child's life. Regardless of what you guys went through to not be together and raise the child together. Because, you know, this child at the end of the day needs to know that they have both parents. And whether the other parent contributes or not, may we not limit them or stop them from being a part of the child's life. That's the first advice I'd like to give. It's quite important for the child to know both parents, regardless of your differences. The second thing is that financial intelligence is quite important, you know, because you are raising a child by yourself. So there are some challenges that you come across and you wouldn't want your child to feel sort of neglected or feels that, you know, I am raised by a single mom, I like this and that at school. So you need to make up for it. So you need to stretch a little bit further than parents that are raising a child together, because there you can put your finances together. When you're alone, you're doing it on your own. So you need financial intelligence as well. How you use your money is quite important. And also, to give the child as much time as you can, because the other parent is not there. So whenever I've got free time, I invested in the child. So, I mean, it's not that difficult, honestly speaking. I just say if you just put your mind to it and just, also once you accept it, it's easier to deal with it. You know, yes, I'm a single parent, and yes, I may be a statistic or not. However, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it right. Because the title of being a parent is bigger than any other title. You're raising a human being. You're raising another soul. You're raising another mind. And you could be raising another leader for our country.
Go. Another leader for our country. Nolo, thank you so much for coming in with your beautiful daughter and experiencing your life through your eyes, and how you've done it as a single parent has been very beautiful to
Thank
hear.
you so much for having me. She's probably out there making new friends. She loves people.
Thanks, Nolo. Ritlile, Reboni, and we did what we had to and brought you knowledge to all our parents with little children. I wouldn't be doing the show justice if I did not thank you all for coming. So a big thank you to my guests, a big thank you to our audience, and a big thank you to you again, Nolo. Ga re tlhokomele bana ba rona. Ka re bana ba rona ke bokamoso ba rona. From me, Carol Ofori, have a good one till next week. Welcome to Pep Talk, the parent's guide to everything to do with you and raising your children. For toddlers, birthdays mean everything. They count how many sleeps it will take before their big day comes. Today, I'll be giving a few budget-friendly options to make sure that your toddler has the best day ever. Moms and dads need to always plan in advance to ensure that their toddler's special day is perfect. And without the proper planning, it can be a costly task. Children are also more empathetic and appreciative than we'd like to think. Sometimes, a nicely packaged gift that is presented when they wake up on their birthday morning is all they need. Keep balloons away from children below 5 years old, as they can cause choking. Only use them for decoration. Besides gifts for your little one, the budget breaker can also be gifts for your little friends from school. Almost every weekend, as I'm sure you all know, is filled up with birthday parties, either for school or family friends. Buying a gift every week can put a huge dent on the budget. You can get a Pep Money card, which is the safest and most affordable way to save your money. With the Pep Money card, you can access your money 24/7 from your cell phone or by using your new card. Get your Pep Money card at your nearest Pep store. That's it for today. Catch us next time right here on Pep Talk. If you want to stand a chance to win some exciting giveaways, get onto our social media pages quick and enter our weekly competition. See you next time.